Oh, and as if by magic, Andrew, when are you going live?
Fucking hell.
Now!
You can tell he's enthused because he's gone back to being the parent of the group.
Yeah.
Hasn't he?
He has.
Daddy Andrew.
I thought it's an old video, but there's a great a cappella version of the Mario and Zelda songs from like 2001. I'll share it with you guys. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Why don't we do our own version of it now?
Ooh.
Oh, do you want it?
No.
Oh, no.
No? Anyone?
Oh, I was
No.
going to come in with a...
Ah!
It's weird seeing the crossplayers live and then underneath it Switch Island episode 55.
It's alright.
We still could do Switch Island episodes. I still think we should, especially when it's like directs and shit.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
What is this?
What's the magic number? What should we wait till to go live with?
So this feed is cross, our podcast feed is the cross players general stuff that we want to put out, right?
Yeah.
So that could be another Switch Island episode. It could be, Rich convincing me to mod my Dreamcast.
Which I've already done.
Why I love throwing sections out that we're trying to invent. Ben 10. Ben 10 as a section is
I'm gonna do
fucking
a
phenomenal.
smart post now.
Yeah.
What?
It could be anything. It's just Ben 10, isn't it?
What, just the name of it?
Well, yeah, just the top 10 for Ben.
Just
And it could be your top 10s.
Just 10 things.
Top 10 numbers.
10 favourite tits.
Whoa, come on. We've just got the Crossplayers account. We'll get shut down here. Blue tits.
Well, I'm looking at 3 of them right now.
Oh.
Very nice.
Wow, that is the definition of a backhanded compliment.
Yep.
I love that. Oh. And Andrew said, I love.
Andrew.
How many will?
Oh.
There's 9 people. Fucking hell, 9 people are watching us right now.
Awesome.
Oh.
Wow.
God, what do we do? Probably start the podcast, Lewis.
Probably should.
Wait until I pull up my super secret notes. I am now ready.
Let's go.
Mamma mia! Hello there, and welcome to the Switch Island Podcast, episode 55. My name is Lewis, and today I'm joined by 3 absolute guys. The first of them being freshly sluiced and 100% moist. Try and catch him if you can. It's the slippery bugger, Ben. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks, Lewis. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Thank you very much. Next up, sugar, spice, and everything nice. Those were the ingredients chosen to make the perfect little boy. But Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, chemical Y. Thus Daniel Ward was born. Nearly.
Oh, you got all choked on me.
I did.
Wow.
Not for the first time.
EGX all over again.
Yeah. And last but by no means least, making his way to the podcast, hailing from Death Valley, England, weighing in at 190 pounds. Lock up your Dreamcast. It's the complete package. Richard Elsey.
Where's that come from?
That was an amazing introduction. Thank you, Liz. Thank you.
That's okay.
How do I get
That's
little,
why-
How do I get little boy in my intro and he gets the fucking complete package? I get a nonce reference and he gets the fucking complete package. Where's the parody there?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I could change it. I could give you a wrestling intro as well if you
I
wanted.
prefer it. To be fair, no, it's okay. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, how he's all doing? How he's doing? Yeah, the doors are closed today, Dan, behind you. That's always good.
They are the bins out as well. It's brown bin night here. Tuesday night.
Which one's the brown bin? What's that for?
I'm going
What
to
do you
say
think it is?
garden,
Come on.
garden waste.
What goes in
No,
the
we had
purple one?
garden. We had garden waste. That was the green one. That was last week. Keep
That
up.
was last week, mate. That's on a Monday. Come on.
Oh, right, okay.
Jesus wept. bin.
Brown must
Right.
be food waste.
It's brown
No.
stuff.
Just brown things.
Brown things.
Mud, chocolate,
Stop.
wood. I don't know.
If that's how you're using your bins, you're not really doing it right.
Oh God.
They're colour coordinated, are they not?
Oh, Rich.
Brown things in the bin. Oh, putting a sausage in the bin. Anyway, it's recycling, which makes it really fucking boring now. Brown things.
Vegan sausages go in the green bin though, right?
Don't know anymore. Don't.
Oh dear.
Lewis, why is your green bin always empty? God, I just don't have any green things.
Yeah. No green stuff. That brown bin of yours is overflowing. Mm.
That was brilliant.
That was a bit funny. Oh, right.
God.
Are you? What are you guys supping back tonight? Rich, I kind of want to come to you first on that. What are you drinking? You've always got something spectacular.
I'm drinking Glazed and Confused by Amundsen Brewery. And it is a double donut stout that has biscotti, marshmallow, caramel, coconut, vanilla, and pecan in it.
The only man I know
And
that
it's 13.5%.
fucking hell. The only man I know that drinks a stout that sounds like a Mills and Boone novel. That's an intro.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Dan, I see you drinking back something there. What you got? Cloudy, that. Huh?
Sorry, I had hair.
Has it got, oh, I was going to say, has it got bits?
It hasn't got bits. It's just like cat hair. Hazy Days again by the London Beer Factory, and that's only 4.6%. Because I don't have any hair on my chest, so that's how I don't drink the things that Rich drinks. I'm not a man enough.
Jewelry Jelly in the chat wants to know if that's available in America. That horrific concoction of yours, Rich.
Probably.
Probably.
How much
There we
is it?
go,
I
there
don't
we
even
go.
know how much
Here
it
he
costs.
goes.
Yeah.
So, Del Boy.
Oh, he's bought one already.
£400.
Ben, what about yourself?
Oh, I am drinking a Gentle Bastard.
Oh,
Ooh.
bit
See
rude.
that? Yeah.
Horizon.
You are what you drink.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a pale ale, 6.5%. Nice.
Hey, and I've got 6 Degrees North Wanderlust, a wheat beer. I'm not a massive wheat beer fan. I nearly finished it, but I've got a Radical Road from my local Stewart Brewery on hand, on standby.
Should we
How's your growler?
Empty.
Just to change the subject.
It's empty, and I really need to go and get it refilled.
should we just have a very quick round of applause for the fact that we're drinking at home and not outside?
Yes.
Yeah, well done us.
Do some clicks.
God, with those
Yeah.
ponces now.
Yeah, well done us for not being fucking idiots. Okay, so before we get started properly, if you are not on Twitter, don't follow us on Twitter or have social media of any sorts, we have a little bit of an announcement to tell you lovely people. And it's that word, packing it in.
Oh, wow. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Is that it?
So
Sound. See you later,
Wow.
guys.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
I nearly played the intro then just as a joke. Woohoo. Fuck it, let's do it.
Let's go.
I bailed out of it. I thought the
Did you?
joke was too much. Yeah.
Okay. So there's no, there won't be any sort of massive changes going ahead. Everything will still be coming through your main podcast feed, but we are changing to widen our scope touch. So we will still cover Nintendo, but we're going to open ourselves up to cover PlayStation, Xbox, the next generation, a generation that is more or less impossible to ignore. Yeah, you've got the same level of nonsense, same bin discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, same great bin chat. Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing, exactly the same, just talking about different games and opening up retro as well, and opening up on PC, just anything gaming, apart from mobile. No, I'm only joking. We'll talk about mobile. It's just...
Will we?
I don't know. Fucking hell. Who
What
knows
about-
what we talk about? We
what
talk
about
about
the
games most
Ouya?
weeks. I'll talk about the Ouya. I'll talk about that with you. I'll start a podcast. Why not?
Andrew's already started one in the chat. He's just formed a podcast about it.
Genuinely has.
Yep.
He's
Yeah.
put Retro, which is the name of his new podcast. But yeah, I'm quite excited by it. I think we've toyed with it, haven't we, for quite a while, and we had to land on the right name and the right kind of theme for it. So if you go over to at the Cross Players now, and pretty much we can go through all our links later, because it pretty much is just the Cross Players instead of the Switch Island anywhere. Twitch, you're watching the Cross Players live, which is just waiting for a site that I've camped on for a while, or an account I've camped on for a while, to move that over, but we can't do that for 2 months, so I have to be a bit patient there. But I'm excited. I'm really made up. And I play a lot on my PlayStation. Well, I say I play a lot on my PlayStation 4. I'm trying to play more of my PlayStation 4, so I'm quite excited to talk about that, and I've been playing quite a few PC games. So, but this is about Nintendo, boys.
This is a Nintendo. This
Right
is the
now.
Nintendo podcast.
Right now.
It is, but I think the fact that we'll still be able to talk about Nintendo in our customary style, but as you say, open it up to other stuff that we're interested in, because I'm excited about the next generation, and I'm equally excited about past generations as well. So being able to kind of just chat our usual bollocks about so many more things is going to be exciting. And I appreciate we've probably got listeners that are like me and at the moment just own a Switch, but hopefully they'll stick with us through the ride, because it will still be us, and we'll hopefully still be moderately entertaining at times.
I'll go with
One
that.
would hope, and occasionally informative.
Now and again.
Yeah. Don't want to push it.
No, I'm not over promising here. Occasionally informative.
Yeah. So I think we've got another couple of Switch Islands to go, and then you'll start seeing lower episode numbers for podcasts for the Cross Players podcast coming through. But yeah,
I reckon we just start from fucking 56 or whatever. Just do it. Yeah, just go. Nobody cares.
Should we just start
Fine.
right now? Just go
Yeah,
into
just do it. It's fine. It's okay. Done.
hello there, and welcome to the.
Should we all do different voices for it?
Maybe I could get through.
Hello there. I'm
I can get through intros without fucking them.
Fucking what?
Wow. Okay.
Right, so with the next gen on its way, we put a question into Twitter yesterday about what is the best console generation so far, and why. So I'm going to open that question to this lovely forum right here. What do you guys think was the greatest of all console generations? We're an 8. We're an 8 and 9 is on. It's hurtling its way towards us. What's been the greatest generation of all time? I open the floor.
For me, I would say it's going to be the 5th generation.
Ooh.
I know the 6th has the Dreamcast in it, but the 5th, that was the jump from 16 to 32-bit. It was the advent of the PlayStation. That was just like the biggest leap for me, and I don't feel like there's enough leaps in gaming anymore. That was just, I think the way the gaming was actually perceived changed as well, because Sony actually made it kind of cool. And there were just so many games on the PlayStation that were just incredible. And you had the Nintendo 64, there was just so many memories I associated with that generation.
Yeah.
And I know the next one brought us the Dreamcast, the Xbox, PlayStation 2, but I don't know, the fifth was just very, very special for me. There's a lot of games that stick in my mind. Tomb Raider, even Final Fantasy VII, which I don't actually really care about, but when it came out, I was like, holy shit, look at these cutscenes. I won't
Holy
play
shit, I
this.
couldn't get
Who
my
invited
thumb
Rich
because-
this week? Whose idea was it to bring him? Jesus. What was I going to say? I'm pretty confident with that generation we can all remember what games we got with the console, or there or thereabouts.
Yes.
So I got with my N64, I got South Park and
That's
some-
underappreciated game. That
was a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, piss balls, piss snowballs, and I also got Mario 64 as well. What was the Wave Race? No, it wasn't Wave Race.
Extreme G was the bike one.
Oh,
Might have been Extreme G. Yeah, I can't remember.
There was a
100%.
wave race game on the 64. There
I
wasn't
don't think it came
cool.
out at the start though. I can't remember.
No.
It was some sort of like
launch.
yeah, some sort of that. And with the PlayStation, I got the Die Hard trilogy. I think it was or Die Hard
Two?
1 and was it Die Hard trilogy?
So good.
Really
Try to go
amazing.
easy on the car.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Got that. Got what was the other one?
Can't remember that.
Alien.
Oh.
Is it
Alien
Aliens?
Trilogy.
It's Alien trilogy as well. So I think my parents just clearly wanted to scare the shit out of me when I was younger already. No wonder I don't like scary games now. But yeah, I mean that console generation was fucking phenomenal. GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, anything by Rare.
Oh, yeah.
Just incredible games. And then on top of that, all the PlayStation games that came out. Like it was, I think, when the console wars, in my opinion, started to really kick in. When you kind of got that battle between Sony and Nintendo, and then kind of had the prelude to what was it, the Mega Drive on that generation as well. Yeah, so wow,
Yeah.
amazing games.
For me, I'm the same generation as you, Rich, but I lean more towards the N64. I remember going to like a Curry's or a Dixon's or whatever it was and playing Lilac Wars just for ages, just standing playing that and being like, aye, this
Probably
is
bought it from like
this is my life.
I was gonna
This
say,
is my life now.
Bought it from like a TK Maxx in Scotland or something.
From the TK Maxx in
The
Scotland.
TK Maxx,
The shop.
the shop, the shop. It has everything in there. Yeah, standing playing that for hours and hours. Well, it seems like hours. It probably was minutes. But the that was then that I decided to make the jump from being a Sega boy to loving Nintendo. So you got Lilac Wars, and I'm sure I had Extreme G. I never got Mario 64. I rented it, but I didn't actually own it. In terms of PlayStation, my cousin had a PlayStation, and my first ever memory of the PlayStation 1 was playing the game Pandemonium.
Oh,
Anyone remembers that game?
Yep.
I don't know if it was any good, but
Yeah, it's fine.
I think I played it. Wasn't it the platformer? Wasn't it?
It was like a jester. It was weird.
yeah.
Had a demo disc of it, I think.
Silent Hill, Siphon Filter. That was a fucking phenomenal game. Metal Gear Solid. Oh,
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo, Driver, GTA 2,
Yeah.
GTA London,
Yep.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Just naming PlayStation games.
I know, incredible.
Just-
Final Fantasy 7,
Just
8,
showing the breadth of our knowledge. It's amazing.
Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8,
My
Final
my
Fantasy 9.
PlayStation memories were just.
Tony
I'll
Hawk's.
never forget my PlayStation memories because I got it for the Christmas of '96, and it didn't work. It wouldn't tune into the TV. I had to wait one whole fucking week to get a replacement.
So,
And,
but you didn't throw it in the bin immediately.
I didn't know. I actually
that's
held
growth.
onto it so I could take it back to our price at the time and get an exchange.
I think the only
The
thing I'd say about that,
PlayStation.
Go
Go
on,
on, go on, Dan.
I was going to say the only thing I'd say about that gen is like they were really cool consoles, but they look fucking terrible. Like the PlayStation 1 looked like something out of Robot Wars. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was just on fire.
Octavite.
Yeah.
It always
Hypnodisc.
my memory of the PS1 was like
Hypnodisc.
Razor.
it's like it feels like a dirty console to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It feels like it was a bit of an interloper when it first came out. And I think I bought mine second hand from this grubby shop that
Pre-check.
just smelled of smoke. And and now I just associate that with with the PlayStation. But the games were
trans
phenomenal.
console.
Did the PlayStation touch you as a child?
it touched me more than the N64 did. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
When I think nowadays, when I think of 3D platformers like Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, my mind automatically thinks of you, Ben.
Ben pointing to a doll in court. Like, when did the N64 touch you, Ben?
Right, let's clear up something here.
Yes.
So
You weren't molested by a games console.
I wasn't. None of those 3 prongs of the N64 controller went anywhere near me.
Did you expansion
But-
pass?
Oh, was that a rumble pack?
Full Mega
but I
Ram.
Oh, let me see your golden eye. Right.
Oh!
So I have often kind of expressed not a hatred of the N64, but I didn't like it at the time. So when you're talking, apart from like GoldenEye, and literally probably just that, none of the other games. I just remember playing them and thinking this looks atrocious. And I've been thinking about it because I know you guys all love it, and Lewis especially. You know, this is your favorite console of all time, possibly.
Yeah, I think it probably is just where it sort of sits in the sort of nostalgia factor within my head. Yeah, definitely.
I think it might be because I'm like just 2 or 3 years older than you guys. And I was, when it came out, I was at a kind of age where I was like, not anti-Nintendo, but a bit more leaning towards PlayStation because it was like cooler and edgier and dirtier. And maybe the N64 was just a bit, it was maybe a bit kiddie for me. You know, when you're a teenager and you think you know everything and you're dismissive of stuff. I think I put it down to that. So I think if some of these N64 remakes like Mario 64, if that was to come out again with decent controls and, you know, decent graphics and, you know, it wasn't, if it wasn't rubbish, I would love to try it and give it a go.
That generation hasn't dated well.
No,
I know you're trying to wind him up there.
It's unplayable. It's unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
awful.
mean, we spoke about a couple of weeks ago trying to go back and play GoldenEye using the Nintendo 64 is horrendous.
Fucking awful.
I'd rather piss on myself. It's a terrible looking game. Diddy Kong Racing as well. Great game at the time, but when you go back and actually look at it, my God, that's an awful looking game. It has not dated well. Emulators make it look better. Yeah, what was that? I'm trying to think of the other games on there that I think the shitload of wrestling games, Rich.
Yeah, No Mercy.
Oh, yeah, No
WrestleMania
Mercy.
2000, which were
Raw?
both awesome.
SmackDown, that was on PlayStation 2.
You had
wasn't
WCW versus NWO World Tour.
Was that actually
Revenge.
not on the 64?
Yeah, but they're shit. Acclaim
They were
games
shit,
are fucking awful. They're worse than most war crimes. They're fucking terrible.
Wait, No Mercy. That, like, again from a couple of weeks ago, that was the game I picked. I would take a straight port of that game. No work done. Just take it.
That's why I love Def Jam, because it's like the nearest we got to No Mercy. Fucking fantastic. Yeah.
But yeah, they've I think of all the generations, that one has probably aged the worst.
Yeah.
As much as you might have strong nostalgia for it, I think, certainly.
I think Mega
You know, there
Drive
were-
games haven't. I was going to say Mega Drive probably hasn't. I think the generation as a whole did, but in terms of, because the Mega Drive is kind of on the cusp of both. That makes sense, where it's still kind of like that. Yeah, I think some of the games are still pretty pretty on that.
Yeah, I think the older consoles, they transition well because of the nature of the graphics, whereas you got that move into 3D, like PlayStation. I mean, that was one of the complaints of the PlayStation Classic, is they said some of the games look so janky now. When they started to get into 3D and started to play with polygons and the way the textures were done, it just dated horribly.
Yeah.
It looked awful.
You seen everyone like talks about the sort of pixel art. I mean, the pixel art's great. You don't hear them saying, "Oh, look at that polygonal monstrosity. Look at his proportions are off the fuck. Oh my goodness, I want that."
Yeah.
Well, look at that clipping. Oh,
Ooh, Lara Croft. It's like, come on, mate, be realistic.
But even like the Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time, they're just, if you look at them now, they're just fuzzy and gross to look at. But
Cleans up quite well on the 3DS.
I have heard that that's like the definitive version of it. Isn't it?
Although there's something really weird when you open. I think it's when you open a chest. Link spins on the spot really fast. Like he's looking up at something. He's like, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" And just starts spinning on the spot. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with that.
Were you drunk when you were playing? I was going to say my generation would be. So what eighth is PlayStation 5.
Yes.
Will it be?
Ninth. We're in the eighth, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
So
Jesus.
I'm going to say 8.5 is my favorite. So the incremental upgrades like the PlayStation 4 with the Pro and with what were the Xbox was? I think
And the
And the Switch. The Switch.
Excuse me, I was going to get to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Can I call the Switch Island boys? Give me a rest, Christ. You know it takes me a while. Don't look at me. Yeah, but the way that the Switch, well, fuck it. No, actually, I'm going to talk about PlayStation first. So you have had a lot of big hitters on the other consoles. You know, you've had your third-party games, Red Dead Redemption 2. On top of that, you've had all your first-party PlayStation games, which have dominated the top 10 of Metacritic. Last of Us 2, God of War. But then, I said we always come back to the Switch, obviously, the Switch Island. And the way that Breath of the Wild literally took our breath away when we were playing it. Even stuff like Super Mario Odyssey. It's not my favourite game by any stretch, and I think it's got its flaws, and it can be boring at times, but I still think that is an incredible game. You can see the mechanics in it are just insane, and the fact that they run that on the Switch and make it look as good as it does is absolute magic still. And then pretty much everything, even back down to like Diablo 3, you know, that is an insanely fun game, run at 60 FPS. Like this console and this generation's had some absolute worldies. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm going to go with that one. And also probably other than Joy-Con drift, the most reliable consoles in, I don't know, say like the past 3 generations, I think. So I'd say that's a good thing.
Not the most elegant looking consoles, I would say.
What is the
I think
best looking console then? GameCube.
I mean, that's just a whole other option. Yeah, GameCube's pretty.
I think it's probably GameCube or.
No, I think the PS4 is pretty nice looking.
It's
That's a
just a
bit.
box, box with some angles, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's design, mate. Come on.
Switch is good looking. It's not terrible looking. I think they could have made a more premium version of it. They still could.
Yeah.
But it's not a terrible looking console. I remember when I first got that, I was like, whoa, it's like really well made, really pretty. And then the Joy-Con started going everywhere. But other than that, I think it was...
Andrew in the chat surprisingly saying Dreamcast and GameCube Preacher surprisingly saying GameCube. So very much reverting to type there.
The Dreamcast is a dumpster fire.
I think the actual Wii is actually quite underappreciated.
I like the design of it.
Yeah.
I know we say that about the PlayStation
does.
5. The Wii is a router. Like,
Yeah.
But for me, it's a toss-up between the N64 and the Dreamcast. I know the N64 looks a little bit toyetic, but I do like charcoal grey. It's got actual curves on it. It's very different for a console.
Best controller as well.
Perspex ones were amazing.
My God.
The best.
The Saturn was an underrated looker,
okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Both like the Mark 1 and the Mark 2, quite decent looking.
Original
machines.
Game
And
Boys.
nice looking controllers as well.
Absolute mess inside, though. Like,
Yes, fuck inside. Don't look inside. Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else. I like the GameCube.
The GameCube is nice, yeah.
yeah.
The
original
PlayStation
Xbox.
2.
Super Famicom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. But are we talking EU? Are we talking NA? Which version?
Definitely our
Yeah.
version and the Japan
Yeah,
version.
the blue and the red as opposed to the purpley kind of.
The purple one, yeah.
Yeah, the purple one is ugly.
Yeah, it's not good looking.
You're going to anger a lot of people, Ben, by saying that.
Yeah, terrible looking game.
They know
Console.
it. They all
Yeah, they do.
prefer ours as well.
Yeah. If they say otherwise, they're in denial.
Yeah.
You see what your sort of standout games of the generation were done?
For this generation,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild probably up there. I didn't get Horizon, as in I played it a lot, but just didn't click with me. God of War 100%, Persona 5, insane game. I'm just looking at all the toys above me.
Vibrator. No, oh no. Yeah.
Spider. Oh my god, spider.
Help!
Help me. Yeah, there's. I think just the to be fair, The Last of Us 2. I haven't played it fully yet. I've only played like half an hour of it, but what everyone's saying, that's going to be a standout game. I think that's going to last in everyone's minds. But even weirdly, probably the game of the last 3 generations, as in the one prior this generation and the next one's GTA 5. Like again, the best selling game on any system ever, and it's still going.
You're getting it free with
Yeah,
the next gen as well.
yeah. Weird. And then you have to wait again for online. Seems just mental. Absolutely crazy. That game's still kicking. But yeah, other than that, though, I think Breath of the Wild probably just tips God of War. Don't know about Last of Us 2. Absolutely love Persona 5. So yeah.
Pete's in Fire Emblem, which I would say
Pete's
that's
got
what's.
if you want to have
That's up
taste
there
like
for me
that,
as well.
yeah, Andrew's
I
saying
think it's.
Andrew's saying The Last of Us 2 is outstanding from the 35 minutes that he's played of the game.
That's where it ends.
Speaking of Andrew, though, and another thing that kind of exemplifies how strong this generation is when a couple of weeks ago when I said about setting some money aside and maybe getting a PS4. If I had £100 to spend on games, what should I get? And the list is endless.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like people kept cropping up. Oh no, you should get that. Oh, don't forget about the Persona. Oh, Spider-Man. Oh, and every one of them, I'm like, yeah, I could quite happily pick those up. They're pretty. I think we've been spoilt for choice in this generation.
Yeah, completely.
You know, and I think you've got Sony and Nintendo both at the top of their game. Xbox kind of obviously fell behind initially, but now they're kind of retuning their whole approach. But yeah, it's been really strong, and it's got all of us back into gaming this generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Switch for me, absolutely.
Always a
I was
Switch for
pretty
me,
much
yeah.
checked out.
Completely, absolutely. It brought us all together, so that's important. And
Yeah.
I think even
Thank
just like
you,
the
Switch.
nostalgia, of all the multiplayer games that we played on the Switch, I think I've never had that feeling before. Never been like PC Online or anything. So, yeah, that's been a hell of a win.
Yeah,
Indeed.
incredible.
Ben, did you say what your favourite generation was?
I haven't yet, no, and I do. If I had to pick between your choices, I would be much more inclined to agree with Dan.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, everyone, you can't be right all the time, but
Unbelievable.
Oh, but for me, the one that just edges it is the 16-bit generation. So what would that be? Generation
4.
4. So what was before that then? What's
Sorry.
1?
I think 1.
2 and
Fucking
1.
hell, these idiots.
Been,
Walked into that one, didn't he?
What's generation 1? Is that what is it?
I've been like 72 to 77.
Right.
Which
Commodore?
was
Yeah.
Amiga?
Atari 2600 or is that?
Magnavox something. Magnavox Odyssey. I think
like
it's
a
making
Hoover.
them up now.
Great band.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Okay, so generation 4 then, the 16-bit, the SNES and the Mega Drive era. That is that's when I kind of fell in love with gaming. I think Link to the Past was the game. It was Breath of the Wild has done that all over again in this generation, but that was the first game to make me love games. And just the head-to-head between Sega and Nintendo, they were just on top of the world at the time, and a lot is made of the console wars. But it felt like everything as a kid. You were one or the other, and it was ridiculous.
You certainly were. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lewis picked the wrong team.
I did indeed. Mega boy.
And now he's a wrong'un.
Absolute wrong.
Now look what happened to me.
But I think so many of the games, they established what we cherish today as well. You know, you had arguably the best Mario game came out then, arguably the best Zelda game, Streets of Rage, Sonic the Hedgehog. They weren't all winners. but the graphics hold up today. The gameplay was refined. It took what was done in the previous generation with the Master System and the NES and just made that, it moved away from the arcadiness. This has to be difficult in order for you to put more coins in it. It just refined gameplay and graphics in a way that I don't think up until this generation maybe we've seen before. So I think it's a very close call between where we are now and that generation in terms of kind of how transformative they both have been.
Nostalgia is a powerful drug, so that's it's.
I think
Nice
with
to
it,
think
I was
back to
sorry.
that.
I was just going to say as well, so that in terms of the controller that goes with the generation, I would also say the SNES, in my opinion, has been my favourite because I do have the most nostalgic memories holding that, and I think it's also one of the sturdiest. I've never had an issue with any. I've still got my original SNES controllers upstairs, and the memories of like I took that console absolutely everywhere. If I stayed over at my nan's, I'd take it. If I went to my friends, I'd be taking it. We'd trade games. You'd have people like selling games on the school playground for like 50 pence. You go to your and it was the thing, wasn't it? Because you didn't really have that many
Inside their big coat.
inside the big coat. Like, do you want some crack? Or do you want to play Jurassic Park? So yeah, like the memories of all of that. I'm picking up games from like the like charity shops and stuff for a couple of quid, but you didn't really know what games were out there with that console. I again only speaking from experience, but I didn't really appreciate like games magazines until I was a little bit older. I didn't really have any narrative around like what's good. It was only really what your mate was playing that you would end up playing, or what came with the console, or what your parents picked up for you, and you just hammer those games all year round, and you jump into them, and you'd be like your prized possession. You'd either show your pet off, or you'd take your mate upstairs and go like, "Have you seen this game called Super Mario All Stars, whatever it is?" I just fucking love it. It was amazingly nostalgic time, and yeah.
It's a weird.
Can I change my answer? I'm like,
it's a weird thing though when you mention like how you kind of stumbled across games. Then I think most of mine would have been ones that just happened to be in Dixon's. It would have been at the time for like, and I'd go back there like if Mum took me to the town centre on a Saturday or something, and I'd look in Dixon's and I'd be like, oh, there's that, and that. And then I'd come back the next week and have a look again. And then he ended up picking up some random games just because of the box art. So like games that have recently come to like the Switch Online, like Smash Tennis and Poppin' Twinbee, which hardly anyone remembers, but I owned them at the time. And I think I must have just bought them because they were cheaper than all the others. So it's like, okay, you can either save up and have this amazing, first party Nintendo game, or for £10 less, you can have this now. So,
Smash Tennis, though. That's I've done all the tournaments now.
Amazing.
I'm ready. Yeah. I remember I put the screenshot up. There's a spelling error in the congratulations.
Oh
message.
yeah.
I can't remember for the life of me what it is, but there's some ridiculous word in there that doesn't. It's not a fucking word.
Congratulations. The same thing, Ben. Like I think I've told the story before, so I won't go into full detail. But going with my nan to like Southport, which is a train ride away, and where she's going like do shopping in an M&S, and then just get back on the train for half an hour and go back to Formby. And you go into like I think it was Electronics Boutique back in the day, wasn't it? I think originally, or HMV, and then you'd see like the game box. And I remember seeing Super Metroid and being like, "Whoa!" The box was like huge compared to the other ones. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, it's on offer, whatever. It's this kind of game." And he was like, "It might be a bit too old for you." I was like, "I'm having it. Nan, can I have it? It'd be great."
Yeah.
Reading the box art, reading the manual on the way back, like the pride of place that it had at home. And then I played it for like 3 hours because it was really scary. I was like, "Oh, it's a fucking petrifying game." But yeah, the memories of it, the memories of it all are just insane, and very, very grateful for that console generation because I think it underpinned a lot of my love of gaming in later life as well, especially 4-player multiplayer that it offered, which is fucking great. So yeah,
You hit it there in terms of like having manuals within the box itself. I mean, just
the
they were
notes
great.
page and everything.
Yeah, on the way home from buying the game. Oh, have a quick thumb through the manual. Like you don't get that anymore. It's just not there.
Or giant game guide that you could pick up with the game, and you'd be like, oh my god, like, and the artwork in it. Oh man, yeah.
Ferry Daniel 21 in chat is basically saying exactly what you've just said there, Lewis. That his parents taking him to a game shop in town first before they did their shopping, so he could sit in the corner of a clothes shop and read the manual.
He kept us quiet.
Yep, shut up, kid. Go on then, read it. Read it, you nerd.
Yeah,
Because I remember like with Ocarina of Time, there was like story in there.
yeah.
Give you a bit of like context on what you were doing, what the story was. Great, like absolutely amazing.
Don't make them like they used to. Yeah, don't do the care and diligence like they do now. Got to go into YouTube. Who would do that?
I think just
waste, what a waste of time that is.
I know, yeah. Twitch, what's that?
And one more thing on that generation as well, and the fact that we are going to be covering retro content. I have taken the bold step of, shall we say, modifying my SNES Mini so that I can experience games that I have previously bought only those ones. I will not be downloading anything that I don't already own physical copy.
Making home improvements.
As is legal.
Yeah,
Andrew in the chat just said, get Rich to talk about his Christmas games. And he said,
Always,
you'll
I
get
can go on all
emotional.
day.
Yeah, he'll be going all day.
I got emotional on Christmas of fucking '96 when my PlayStation didn't work. Yeah.
Some of my best memories of you are getting you crying. So you do you, Rich.
Love it.
All your memories.
you got emotional, but at least there was pizza there for you to help with it.
Not then. No,
Oh, that's a callback. That's a callback.
That's
Amazing.
a big episode call like that.
Yeah.
Yep, it definitely is. So, I mean, I look forward to. I mean, we're going into Gen 9. We're still to kind of see what the Xbox has in store for its sort of first party games, or however you want to call it. But it can be interesting to see, like, beyond that, where do we go? Where do we end? What the console still exist in 10 years? Is this the last gasp of a home console? Yeah, does anything exist? Question mark.
That's the name of the episode. Does anything even exist anymore?
I think you probably hit on something. I think as long as gaming retains the magic of what we had when we were younger, it will always be powerful, and it'll always be a thing that I'll always be drawn to, because that escapism, and whether it's through a box or through the internet, I don't really care. I don't care about the controller. I just care about the experience.
Well put. Any other closing thoughts on console generations?
Yeah, fuck the Wii U. All right, cheers, boys.
The what?
Wii U.
My nostalgia still. I've always been obsessed with the idea of the box and the controller and the launch day, and I think this idea of consoles maybe not being a thing, it does kind of freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know if that is just my nostalgia making me, I don't know.
It's like if people cling to physical media. I'm the same. I like something to hold.
Eye emoji.
Yeah.
I'm all for embracing the future. I think convenience is king. We want things now. That's the way things are going to go. I think there'll always be some element of physical media, because there's always going to be collectors that want it. But there's a lot of talk at the moment about game prices finally increasing. I can remember my parents paying £60 for Super Nintendo games.
Yeah.
For me, and they if anything, they've got cheaper. I wouldn't dream of paying £60 now for a game.
I remember seeing
It's paying more,
Turok.
if I'm honest.
I remember seeing Turok Dynasty Hunter on N64 and Curry's like $79.99. I was like,
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I know.
Mad.
Or you went to HMV and had another tenner onto anything, you'd be like, how the fuck is that happening?
Yeah.
Statler and Waldorf in the chat. Odman84 said, fuck you, Dan. Also, fuck the Stadia. And then GameCube Preacher came in and said the Wii U was boss.
Fuck the Stadia.
And then he
Whatever
said,
that is.
Hang on. Are we pronouncing it Stadia? That sounds a bit posh.
Stadia.
just trying to overcompensate with two Southerners and Lewis, the blooming. I was going to say something terrible there. I'm not going to say it.
Fuck the Stadia.
The
The
Stadia.
lightest put down in the world.
Lewis, you pronounce it.
Is it a Google Stadia? I don't know.
The Google Stadia. Oh, brilliant. I've completely forgotten my point and why I started bringing up game prices.
We just tried to get
It was
rich
quite
emotion.
eloquent, as I remember.
I was saying
Yeah.
I don't care about. I think games prices should go up. I do think it's becoming very, very difficult for some houses to make a profit. And I think on an indie perspective, if some of the experiences I've had, I'd be happily paying an extra percentage on top of what I'm currently paying to get that more premium output. And again, it's like anything. You know, still be able to get reviews, and you can talk with your wallet, vote with your wallet, or what you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring on the next gen.
Yes, quite.
Very, very good.
Mother. Stadia.
Yes, yes, Stadia. Okay, guys, I think it might be time to switch it up.
Oh, switch it up.
Switch it up time. Richie boy, a long old while since you've been on. Fancy telling us what you've been playing?
Since you were last on every game.
Every
Right,
single game.
Every game released on the Dreamcast for starters.
Detail,
Um,
explanation, what you've been playing. Thank you.
on the Switch, I've been playing Behold the Kickmen, which is an interesting little football game on the shop, which I like a lot. And I won't have anyone speak ill of this game. It's great.
Yeah, what? It's like a weird sort of football sim. It's quite funny for what I've seen. It's sort of
Yeah, it's kind of like a top-down kind of. It's kind of top-down, kind of sensible soccer, Italian 90 kind of affair. Basically, it's made by one guy who actually despises football, and it's basically his interpretation of the sport.
Yeah.
So he just mocks the game throughout. The rules are completely just screwed. Instead of scoring a goal, you do a goal. The offside can happen at any given time, and there's like a siren. So it's basically kind of like Fortnite. You hear a siren going off, and the offside's happening. And if you've got possession of the ball during this point, you get an instant red card. It's fucking weird.
What's it called
But I
again?
really
Behold the Kickmen.
It's like $2.99 or something. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's around that.
weird, but it's really, really fun.
I have been tempted by it because it
Yeah,
looks
me as well.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And the developer, I forget the chap's name, but he did release a game called Ben There, Dan That, which
Oh, yeah.
obviously
The Switch
is an
Island
amazing,
game.
exactly, Switch Island game. But the gameplay just looks really slow.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
the only
it's
thing stopping
intentional.
me from getting it. Right.
The idea is they're just slow and shit, and like the actual crowd are like
Yeah, I
throwing
like it.
abuse.
Right.
Like
It sounds
every
great.
time there's a kick off, there's like women just like oh, crying, and there's just like people like yawning and just heckling, and they're just like the sport is boring everyone in the stands. It's fucking really weird, and it's just weird, but it's so good, so good, and like every team is like called so and so United. I think the team at the top of the table is called Brazil Town United, and the league is called the Big Boring British Football Spreadsheet. It's fucking weird. It's just it's bonkers. But he's just taking the piss. He gets a little bit self-aware sometimes. He gets a little bit too smug with some of its jokes, but it does just take the piss out of the sport. It takes the piss out of the fans. I've never been a football fan, so it kind of appealed to me.
Do
yeah,
do the jokes wear thin though? Do they kind of
I don't
repeat
think so.
themselves? And
No, I mean, I've had a few good belly laughs, and I don't really laugh at video games. They've never really got me, but this game did make me chuckle. No, it's worth it. I mean, when you score a goal, the referee comes up and gives you a kiss. It's fucking great. Yeah. But if you score a goal, sometimes if you score, you'll get like 3 goals in one. Sometimes you get 2. And they gave you money as well. So I scored 3 goals and I got £12. It's great. Honestly, it's fantastic. For £3, it's not like as a game, it's not really good, but as a joke, It's fantastic. And
I guess it's not got online. We can't play together, can we?
I do not believe so.
Don't think so.
No. You have to actually unlock passing as well. I want to start it. You can't pass the ball. You have to fucking unlock it. It's great. It's worth it. It's worth it. It really is. And the pitch is oval shaped as well, not square.
Yeah, I'm just watching that now.
It looks brilliant. That might be worth a cheeky pickup just for £3.
Honestly, for £3, it's like you're supporting one guy as well, so it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
No, it's a good time, really.
Excellent. I think we've got a review of that coming soon, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we've got
Think we have, yeah.
a review. Yep.
Yeah,
One of the team is working on the review.
one of the guys.
Yeah. And Oddman84 in chat is saying Blair Witch Rich. Talk to us about Blair Witch.
What little I've played of this game. I've played less of this game than fucking Andrew because it's just it's shit me up basically. I've had a couple of occasions I scared my missus because I jumped so fucking violently on the couch. It's horrible. It's
Not like
it's a
Tom
fantastic
Cruise
game.
up and down on the couch there.
Practically, yeah. I like the force lightning and everything. It was horrifying.
You need to stream this, Rich. I think people would definitely watch this just to hear you scream.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Because it takes place shortly after the events of the first film. So you're looking for a kid in the woods. It's all set in the 90s, which is great. But unlike Alien Isolation, which was very much monster horror kind of stuff, this is that kind of like the invisible enemy, and it's the real suspense of it, and it did my head in. It's a good game, but I was just tense the whole time. You're in the pitch black woods. You've got a torch, which is shit, and then every so often, basically, these the witch's minions come out and start attacking you. You can't see them, and it's kind of like what's that game now with the camera when you stop ghosts in their tracks?
Luigi's Mansion.
There's another one. It's not Nintendo. No, that's
Fatal Frame.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, but you've got a dog as well, and the dog senses when something's there and starts growling, and you have to stay with the dog and face in the direction the dog's facing and shine your torch, otherwise you get attacked. And it's at that point I just turned off. I'm playing fucking FIFA 18. I'm not playing this shit. It's too much.
Without the audio and everything, it just looks like a shit Firewatch.
I think you did
does
compare it.
look a shit.
You compared it to that before, right, Dan? It kind of looks like a
a
horrific Firewatch, basically.
To be fair, look, I think it's a Switch gameplay. Doesn't say on the stream, but looks pretty. Looks nice.
It's heavily optimized. It doesn't look as good as the Xbox One version, but it's good. Honestly, it looks perfectly good. I actually already had this on Game Pass, but I just decided to drop £25 on the Switch version because I'm weird like that. But, yeah.
We all are, Rich. It's fine. You're in good
and
company.
I've not played it since because I'm too scared. So that was money well spent.
Andrew then says in the chat, I need to play this game now. It sounds hilarious. I think he might be talking about the previous game you're talking about. Annoying times.
It's worth it. £3. Can't go wrong with Beholder Kickman. Honestly, I think it's more of a gag than a game, but it's entertaining, and I think ultimately that's kind of why you play games, just to be amused. Not always amused, obviously. I'm going to be amused by The Last of Us Part 2, but hey.
Amused boosh.
Amused
I don't know why I
boosh.
said that. Sorry.
Stadia.
Need to get the cheekbones in. Stadia.
Stadia.
It's Leviosa. Accio bum. Stop it, Ron. Sorry.
Fuck.
Anything else on the old playlist there, Rich?
Duke Nukem 3D World Tour on Switch, which is bloody good. Yeah, honestly, I think I prefer Duke to Doom. I think it's a much better game.
Does it make you feel sick?
No. I was actually fine with it. I don't know what's wrong with Ben, but I was fine.
Nobody does.
In general, what's wrong with
knows.
Ben? No one knows.
I don't even know what number comes before 4. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Stop doing
Yeah,
that.
it does make me feel sick.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Luigi's Mansion. The first one made me feel sick.
Mm.
What? Oh.
Well, it was the more Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader, whatever one was. And then I played that afterwards, the Luigi's Mansion afterwards, and my feeling of sickness is it clings to the thought of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I'm even just watching it now on our Twitch feed, and I can see why it makes me feel sick.
Look a bit
Moves so
peaky.
smooth, doesn't it? I think it's just like
I can't even look.
because
That
it does
3D
the
mode
little-
is already enabled, isn't it? So you can't even turn it on.
Yeah, you can toggle between 3D and 2D,
Yeah.
but neither of them seem to help. It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't
strange.
really know why. But I
For
had
me, it's
exactly the
just-
same thing back in the day.
For me, it's just kind of cool because like games got a real history with Nintendo. I still remember my N64 magazines back in the day when they were kind of showing how Nintendo censored it for the N64, and seeing it now uncut, strippers, boobs, alcohol references, swearing. Oh, Nintendo.
Is it 60 frames per second?
I don't know.
It looks it from the stream there. It looked like it might be 60 frames per second.
I think it is, yeah. It's pretty good.
Other than that, all I've played is Shin Nihon Pro Wrestling Tukon
Oh, fucking hell, I
Retsuden
meant to
4
spell
on the
that.
Dreamcast.
Trying to be a wizard here on YouTube. Help me out. Come on. Shin what?
Shin Nihon Pro Wrestling.
Fucking hell.
So it's Nihon.
Christ on it. Fuck play. Oh, I've got it. Oh no, I
This is
haven't.
great content.
Oh no, I found it.
Tukon Retsuden 4. Yeah.
Oh, Richard, why are you playing that?
It's a New Japan wrestling game on the Dreamcast from the year 2000. It's fucking great. Yeah, it's all in Japanese though. I had to get game facts up to actually understand the menus.
Jesus Christ, they're
I
lags
see.
them.
You stuck a picture on Twitter, didn't you? Of the menu.
It's fantastic. Love it.
It's
Love
made
it.
by Climax Games.
Mm-hmm.
Tomy Interactive as well. Remember Tomy?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
look at those polygons.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Oh,
It's making
It
Ben feel
plays-
sick for other reasons. I love that.
I love these old kind of wrestling games.
It's a great. It
But
plays
they're
just like SmackDown as well. It's like a
quantitatively-
slower, more
Oh, really?
technical SmackDown. It's made by Ukes as well. This came just before the SmackDown game, so SmackDown actually borrowed a load of assets from these games. Some of the sound effects are the same. It just plays
it looks awful, mate.
Does, doesn't
Fuck
it?
you.
Is that the Wilsonite?
Yeah, where's the
Iron
Wilson?
Brute.
Can we
Iron
make him
Brute.
the Iron Brute?
The Iron Brute.
Iron Bruiser.
Nah, Brute.
It's a really good game. I don't care what you say. I played it for hours.
Okay. Who wants? Who wants?
That's
Yeah. It's a pretty wide selection you got there, Rich.
Hmm.
Yes.
Do you want me to
Covering all the
go?
bases.
Should I talk about what I'm playing?
Yeah, and you go.
I am playing an absolute shit ton of Rocket League again. And it is ruining my life.
Why?
Well, it just is. It's ruining my life. Because I'm playing against people like Ben. And
Reason enough.
It just takes the joy out of everything.
he just does. He just
Full
sucks the joy
stop.
out of it. Absolutely
line again.
terrible. It really, really does me head in. No, it's a great game. It's a really, really fun game. But I think you can either. It seems to be game to game that you just have incredibly frustrating moments. So
Yeah.
you'll play really, really well. You score maybe a goal or two, or you'll go from like hero to absolute zero, where it's just an absolute shit show. And the pairing on it. So it was Pete, myself, you, and Carl. And Pete and I are probably the worst players. In fact, we're the worst players on Rocket League. So the fact we were paired together consistently for like 3-4 rounds, getting absolutely tanked. What was the first game? 7-1?
7-1, 7-2 maybe. I don't know.
Genuinely wanted to walk away. I wanted to go to bed. I was that angry with that game. I hate it so much. But then at the same point, when you're playing and you're playing against, I don't know, somebody over in France, and they're called the Frenchman, and you beat them, and you're like, hey, the Frenchman. So it's got its pluses. Other than that, I think the only other game I played a lot of is Paladins. So did any of you guys kind of jump into that when it came out?
I struggled to get into it.
Briefly.
I didn't give it a chance, to be honest.
No, my only memory of it is listening to the Switch Island podcast talking about it for an episode or two before any of the rest of us joined.
It's a really, really good game. So,
I'm sorry.
terrible. I know.
No,
How dare
carry
you?
on.
Don't acknowledge it. It never happened. Yeah, the way, again, hero shooter, you pick your tank, your DPS. I don't know all the terms. I'm not very good at it. I pick Barrack every time, which is a ginger kind of troll fella.
Wow.
He's Scottish as well, so he like screams just like obscenities across the battlefield. And usually there's different game modes, like a deathmatch version or a you push the payload. I don't know what you call those, like payload rounds. It's like this big cart in the middle, but it's a really cool game. So Barrack, just to explain the character and all the powers you get like cards at the start. So you kind of equip like a loadout. I don't know if Overwatch is the same. And in that loadout for Barrack, let's say he's got turrets, so you can increase the health of those turrets and also give you health when you're near them. So it kind of makes you into this tank of a character, or sorry, no, like a defender of a character where you can kind of hold that area. There's loads different. I paid like 15 quid and unlocked, I think, like 20 characters to play on there. And I'm still playing the fucking ginger fella Barrack, so because he's still my favorite. But it's really good. It's free to play. Again, should be a huge plus. And for the free content you get in that game, it's slick as hell. Really great. Even on Switch, it just runs an absolute dream. And like I said, it gives you some really, really good wins. So that is my recommendation for free to play for the week. Thank you very much. Tip of the hat.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
So just a quick question on Rocket League. When you've been playing it, playing randoms, do you do casual or competitive? Out of curiosity.
No. Silver 3, I think we got up to.
Really?
Yeah. Did all right.
Is that
Yeah.
okay? I don't know what the tiers are. I try and stay away from the competitive stuff. It is
I mean,
infuriating.
To be fair, I found the competitive stuff easier because I think even in casual, it pairs you up against people that are kind of there or thereabouts your area.
Maybe.
Yeah, but then in terms of playing in the competitive space, like there are some people that absolutely tank you and you walk away with like 5-0 loss. But
Yeah.
reality is it's usually a lot closer than that for the majority of people. So a couple of overtimes, a couple of clutch wins.
Nice.
So it's what you
Nice.
want. It's what you want at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night before you go to bed. That adrenaline rush that keeps you up then for 7 hours.
Yeah.
But playing it with a few of us is pretty much the closest we've, well, certainly, well, I think any of us have got to going down the pub and having a laugh with your mates. Like just staying up. Like it's the only time I'll stay up beyond midnight. It's pretty much just doing that. I stayed up till 1 o'clock last night. I'm mad.
We
what
are
did you
mad
do?
though.
Played Rocket League.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's brilliant and it's good. It's really good for that. Just camaraderie and getting one
Yeah.
over on your mates and stuff like that.
It's the same feeling
really
I used to
good
get with FIFA.
Yeah.
When I was playing that when I was younger. It's that you are sitting up till silly o'clock just having a laugh. Throwing out obscenities at competitors and your mates alike. So it is good. It's a really good game. The mechanics on it are
It's good.
fantastic. And I'd be very excited to see what they bring out in the future as well. Psionics, I think it is.
Yes.
Definitely.
Quite.
So I've been playing another car-based game, and I picked up Burnout Paradise for
Okay.
the
Oh.
Nintendo Switch.
Look at the grin on his
And
face. Look at the grin on his face.
and,
How much was it, Ben?
I paid £40 for it.
Okay, £40.
Yeah,
That's
and I think that is fair. Now, I did stream it. My first time playing it, I
Okay.
streamed it a few nights ago. And it's I was kind of having this conversation in the chat about like I feel like it's worth £40 to me, because I've got no other means of playing the game at the moment. It's a kind of game that I felt like playing, just a kind of mindless driving around like a nutter game, which made me actually pick up Horizon Chase Turbo again and start
Yeah.
beating some of Lewis's and Rich's times.
Have they got that back yet?
I don't think so, no.
Well, if Ben goes and checks, I think he finds that I have.
I'm still below you two.
But yeah, so that I just had a kind of urge to play like an arcadey sort of driving game, and for that and for what the game is, it's not the best looker, or there's no real kind of depth to it that I can tell, but it is just fun, and that's what I want from an arcade kind of driving game. So to me, Grid was what does Grid retail for? Like £30?
It's like 20.
It's 29, is it not?
Wait, you're talking about Autosport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's £30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So £30 for that, or £40 for this physical. I don't know. Is it that bigger difference? It's £10 again. Showing my math skills. But is it? I don't know. This came in for a lot of criticism because you can get it a lot cheaper elsewhere. But I'm assuming you can probably get Grid a lot cheaper elsewhere as well. Might be wrong.
It's
I'm
just
sure
the argument with any Switch game, isn't it? It's just going to be the same thing, and I think you got it physical. So if you don't like it, it's going to retain its value. And I think that's a massive plus. I don't think you get that with any other console. It's on Origin on the PC for like £3.99 per month. You can get that. So I'm not being like disparaging over it, because you get FIFA 20 on there, and I spent like £8 on that a couple of weeks ago. So pot kettle would be the phrase that jumps to mind. But I think if it's good and you can play it handheld and it stands up quite well. I mean, what are the frames per second like in terms of the?
Seems to run at 60. I mean, I'm not not an expert in these things, but from what I could tell, it was pretty smooth. Yeah, there's a bit of kind of jaggy edges and stuff like that, but it's cool. And it even impressed my partner, who notoriously despises gaming, and I put it on the other day and she went, "Oh, this looks good, this is really cool." I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah."
Did you say it like that?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, this looks good.
She said, "What are you doing now, you child?"
Leave me alone, you upstairs.
No,
I'm crashing cars.
I told you not to come in when I'm tidying my room.
Just leave me alone. So it's a cool game. I'm not disappointed at all. I played it probably for a solid hour on stream, and then I've played it again since. So that's already passed the test, I think, for longevity.
I mean, it is good to see more EA on the Switch. I mean, I'm actually quite excited for are they doing Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, I believe?
Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
I think so.
I'm like, okay, got my interest. Genuinely, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
Are you saying nice things about EA?
I am.
What a world we live in.
FIFA 18 is like my third most played game on Switch.
Is it really?
So, yeah.
That's weird.
Weird. Super weird.
Has that got online? FIFA 18?
Yes.
No. Has it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we should have a game, Rich.
I think I've got that as well.
Shit.
Yeah.
So
It's a proper. It's
All
a
the
very
best.
old engine as well in that game.
Like,
I'm currently doing a season mode with Accrington Stanley.
Oh, who are they?
Ooh,
There you go. Yeah.
oh dear.
Boys.
Good times.
Boys.
anything else?
So
on
yes,
the-
pick it up. I don't think so. No.
Horizon Chase Turbo.
Horizon Chase Turbo
Such a good game.
is. I've been kind of. I think it's probably my favourite racing game on the Switch.
Very good.
Oh, Rich was looking then. He was about to chime in.
Second.
Triggered.
Second.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I've got properly into Grid yet. I've only done a couple of seasons of that. But it's very much, much more of a serious sim type racing game, isn't it? Whereas Horizon Chase Turbo is just mad, and I love that. I love that leaderboard chasing stuff. That I get a real kick out of beating Lewis, basically.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
And then when he gets one over on me, it just makes me want to pick it up again and play it. So it's cool.
You put that in there. And the time for the first track of the first sort of stage
Mm.
1 minute 7 seconds. It seems like it's a very, very good time.
Is it?
I think so, anyway, but because I used your ghost
Yeah.
because I played it. I was like, I'm not having any of this Ben nonsense at the top of the leaderboard. I used your ghost, and so I made the foolish mistake of going round, I think either the last corner or second last corner, and checking the mini map at the side and seeing where you were, and I hit like a signpost and crashed. I was like, and I've tried again to get to that point, and I can't get anywhere close.
Shouldn't map and drive, mate. Shouldn't map and drive.
Never map and drive. Just trust your instincts. Wow, so we've got Rich complimenting EA and Lewis being nice to me. Whatever next?
Well, I crashed at that corner and finished at 108.
Right. A whole second behind.
After crashing. So you
Close.
just watched yourself, Ben. I'm coming for you.
I reckon Ben's missus is just sat on the sofa like a rally driver's assistant. Left turn.
Long, easy left.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So other than jumping into Horizon Chase Turbo to try and beat Ben and Rich's scores at times even, I've been playing a couple of games, predominantly BioShock. Had it for the PS3 and was it PS3? Oh, I can't remember what I had it for.
Yes,
Having a meltdown.
probably.
And didn't finish it. I think I got to a certain point and just stopped playing, and I think I'm at that point now. So I am in a sort of gardening area. I've just picked up some power up.
Really selling
I picked
it.
up, yeah, selling it. I picked up some power up, and now I'm in another area. Yeah, so I'm where I think I'm where I sort of finished, but I'm really enjoying it. Since playing it, I have watched a good few videos on it, even before it was announced for Switch. So everything's been spoiled for me. I know what's coming. And in that, I think I've been sort of alleviated of any burden whilst playing it, and I'm really enjoying my time with it. Not a lot I can kind of say about it, other than it's not as scary as everyone makes out. I don't know if it's meant to be sort of, a few jump scares in there, but it's nothing.
I don't think it is, and
too much.
I'm terrible at scary games, but I think there's some moments where you don't really know what's around any corner, and it's more so like that with, is it the Big Sisters or the Little Sisters? I can't remember.
Big Daddies.
No, in BioShock 2, where
Oh,
it's
okay.
the sisters, I can't remember what they're called, but where they could just like appear out of nowhere, and they're just like really agile enemies, and they are genuine. It's like the Lickers in Resident Evil, you know, where you just like you don't know where they could be. It's that kind of vibe. It does make it scary, but just kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because with the first one anyway, you can generally hear if someone's there because they're maybe around the corner going, "Oh yeah," like sort of just being
Great impression.
weird around things, like around the corner or whatever. Yeah, really enjoy my time. I can see on the video just now there's a person holding a spanner or a wrench, depending on where you're from, and it's very satisfying to clobber someone over the head with it.
Absolutely.
Fun old time.
Yeah, I need to spend a bit more time with that game. I haven't. I've only played the first hour or so, I think.
Yeah, on
just a
stream.
little intro bit, and then actually we've got a good article on the site that Laurie wrote about why that intro is so impressive. And it is cool, but it just seems like one of those games you have to be into, you know, and almost just dedicate yourself to playing through it. It's not that long though, is it? It's about 15 hours or something.
Yeah, about that. It's not long.
Yeah,
And
I double checked.
for the storyline in the first one, and Lewis knows that's been spoiled for you, but
Yeah.
it genuinely is like a surprise. It was one of the few games where I've been, or any narrative, you know, in that medium where I've been like, oh, I'm actually quite surprised at where that's gone. It's like quite a nice little ending. And then BioShock 2, great game, really great game. Just improves on the mechanics of the first one. Storyline's a little bit weaker. And then Infinite's a gorgeous looking game. So I've not jumped into that yet on Switch, but I'm quite excited to see how it plays. But yeah, the trilogy, some of my favourite games. I think 2K have been rumoured for a while to be doing a remake, or certainly do a next game, which will be quite interesting. So
That sounds pretty cool. Because it's not they're not bad looking games. You can tell they're older, but they're not bad looking.
No.
Yeah, I only ever played Infinite. I did complete that, but it's the only Bioshock I've ever played. So I haven't played the first two. So maybe it'd be a good opportunity to do so.
No, I think so.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm playing a game I picked up a little while ago, a few months ago. Platforming RPG, Child of Light.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, I am super. I started playing it on Saturday or Sunday, and that was it. Normally, I'll jump between games and play a few games on a night, but that was it. I just immediately was just immersed in what was happening. So, for those that don't know the game, I suppose you are a sort of princess. It's not a spoiler to say that within the opening cutscene, you die basically, and it's set in this almost dream world, and you sort of go around. You're kind of confused at why you're there, and I assume the story unfolds in that kind of way. But it's a gorgeous game to look at. It's kind of like the backgrounds and the sort of scenery remind me of Greece, whatever you want to call it.
Greece.
Greece is the word.
Again, Ori and the Blind Forest vibes as well.
Yeah, it's so it's not like a Metroidvania turn-based combat that I sort of read up that it's a similar style to Final Fantasy games apparently, when there's a sort of active time mechanic to that. So you have a companion that's with you all the time. It's a little firefly. You can sort of shine a light on a enemy and it'll slow them down. They'll sort of power down on screen, and their progression to attack is slowed. But honestly, just what a game! It's loving it. I would highly recommend it for those that are like sort of really deep RPGs. I don't think you're going to get the sort of satisfaction that you would get from a sort of bigger game, but everyone here on this podcast, I think you would really enjoy your time with it.
It's in the double pack with another game in the eShop, isn't it? I know it was.
Yeah, Valiant Hearts, I think it.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've got that one. Yeah, I love that game. Oh, love that game.
Yeah, I tweeted out about playing Child of Light, and someone recommended to me to. It was Dads After Dark, the Nintendo Dad podcast, to pick up Valiant Hearts as well and play that.
Because they're both, what is it, Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, yeah.
But they're indie kind of division.
Yeah.
It looks gorgeous. Isn't it got all of the text, isn't it?
It's rhyming. Rhyming. Yeah, apologies. Everything is in rhyme, and there is a character that you meet at some point, relatively close to the start, who she gets to the end of her sentence, and you think she'll say one thing, but there'll be a little sort of ellipsis, and she'll say the wrong thing, and then your character come in and say, "Oh, this," to make it rhyme in the end.
Right.
But everything is in rhymes.
And that doesn't get irritating at all.
Not yet. One thing I do know that the conversation can sort of witter on while you're moving. So your two characters will sort of speak to each other. The text boxes don't stay up for very long, and because it is written in a rhyme, you go, what are they saying?
Yeah.
But anything that's actually of note, you get a proper, hit the A button to proceed if there's any sort of story beats or whatever. But yeah, recommend it for sort of RPG lovers. And I'm not someone who is that well versed in RPGs.
Like a young Ben.
Yeah.
Indeed. I remember I was once like you, Lewis. Yes.
Once pop that cherry.
That's good. I'd love to play this. I have got it, but I think it would be. It's isn't it about like 8 to 10 hours as well?
Something like that. Yeah. I again checked out how to beat says like 9, 10 or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's not.
Nice.
It's not super long.
A good length.
A good old length. And that's all I've really been playing. I'll be jumping on Horizon Chase Turbo after this, though.
You know it.
You just watch yourself.
That's so threatening.
Any closing thoughts, closing arguments, anything else you guys want to
Fuck the Wii
bring
U.
up?
No, that was it.
Fuck the Wii U.
Fuck the Wii U.
No, that's it from me.
That's
Excellent.
for me. I'm spent.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, what have you been doing?
Can't see my hands.
Cannot see your hands. So, Rich, if people want to find you online, where can they go?
You can find me on Twitter at Dreamcast Barber, and also on Dreamcast Years, and also on Three Bricks Pod.
Yeah, it's a podcast whore. That's what you are.
Absolute
Bad as that,
slag.
yeah, definitely check out those podcasts. Dan?
Yeah,
Yourself?
OnlyFans, and it's at DannyWard2707 on Twitter as well.
Mr. Congleton.
Take your hippie jumper off then.
Fuck off.
You can find me at Benji Kong on Twitter.
Lovely. And I am at that Dr. Fact on Twitter. And, you can continue looking for the Switch Island on any good old search engine. But if you start looking for the cross players and get everything set up for our Switch in a few weeks, then it's probably a good thing to do. The feed will still be coming through on the same same feed.
Yep.
So nothing to
Same
do there.
time, same channel.
Couple of teething issues. You might see a weird little Switch Island still thing on there, but yeah, we're flipping it all over. So
Yeah, let us know if you spot anything.
Yeah.
That's still got Switch Island
do our work
branding
for
on
us.
it. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Help us.
Let's all just, as a community, do due diligence.
And if I
one
don't
big
The big crossover.
If I don't mention it as well, because I know we've all spent a lot of time on it over the weekend, but we've just kind of reinvigorated our Patreon a little bit as well. So you can do anything from $1 on there, and we're super grateful for anyone that listens to us. If you can go over, have a little look, done all nice, pretty icons, and there's a couple of bigger tiers on there that no doubt Eamon's probably going to subscribe to at some point. We're going to have to talk him off the bridge. But yeah, we're super chuffed with how it's turned out, and I think we're actually doing things on there that we're pretty enthused to commit to as well. So
Definitely.
it'd be cool if anyone could pop over there, and I'll stop whoring us out now.
Definitely looking forward to what's going to be coming up over the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Exciting times.
Very excited.
All right, guys. I think it might be time for us to say goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Keep waving. Come on,
Bye.
wave. Come on, Ben.
Bye-bye.
Put some effort into it, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Stadia.
Stadia.
Ravioli.
My name's Richard.
Ravioli.
Let's go.